And now for our first episode in our special series with Gesher Ami and the Ministry for Diaspora Affairs, as we are connecting Israel and the diaspora. With us today are Franziska Kosman from the United States and Devorah Azuviv from Beit Shemeh of the management of the Ezra Youth Movement. Shalom, Devorah.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks for joining us. Franziska, you're joining us from where exactly?
Lower Merion or Bala-Cynwyd outside of Philadelphia.
Now, Franziska, what can you tell us about your community in terms of the connection to Israel?
So we are a bunch of smaller communities, all united because of our location. And the leadership, schools, the institutions, the shuls have a lot of programming directed. We have cards. I don't know if it's every Monday or the children come in and write cards for wounded and injured soldiers to send to Israel. I know they had toy drives. We've had at least one mission trip from, I know, my shul that I was on last February. But I look through a critical eye. For me, it's never enough.
Devorah, you're involved in lots of important activities of connecting as part of the Ezra movement. Do you also feel that there's much more that we must do to connect?
I think that there's always much more to do. We always need to connect even more and more. I'm actually part of another tfutzot connecting. Like we do a Zoom with another family from the U.S. But I always think that there's always much more to do. I do think that we have been feeling a lot more connection than we used to do since the war actually started. We've been seeing how a lot of different communities have been getting together and even just coming out with their Israeli flags and sending things in. I remember in the beginning of the war seeing in my living room over 50 duffels of just tons of stuff for the soldiers. My husband has been in Miluim for almost 8 months in the past year. And we've just been getting nonstop amounts of donations and lots of love from a lot of different Jewish people from different Jewish communities around the world.
Franziska, how would you say that October 7th influenced this connection we're talking about?
We definitely feel more connected and more at stake. And if anyone had any connection, that connection is amplified. And it has become a part of the identity of the Jew in the diaspora, their connection to Israel and when they went last or which family member lives there, which family member serves or is back in Miluim. So it's definitely much more activated than it's ever been.
And while in Israel we have the challenge of the war and the terror, in the U.S. you're dealing with anti-Semitism.
Yes, we've definitely seen it on campuses, including Philadelphia. We made the news several times. Parents are having conversations. Do we want our children to go to Penn Law, to Harvard, to Columbia? When in the pre-October 7th, that was the goal for your children, the epitome of elite education. And now parents are questioning, is this really where we want our children to be? Is that the right environment for them? Is this good enough for our children? Are we safe? So that's just one area of how anti-Semitism affects. We stand with Israel signs outside of our house. There's a lot more Magen David paraphernalia people wear, whether it's on their clothing, their jewelry. They're much more connected and they want to be more visible, at least places where people feel safe enough to do that.
By the way, Devorah, when we say Beit Shemeh and diaspora, some may say Beit Shemeh is a visit to diaspora, right? We know that there are so many Anglo communities in your town.
People sometimes say when we go to the Kotel or we go to Yerushalayim, so that's when we really get to Israel. Because we really are living in an American community here. But personally, I've been in a lot of different circles with a lot of Israelis. My husband is from Tveria. He's Moroccan, totally Israeli. So I definitely do feel like I am part of the whole Israeli community.
Okay, now Devorah, I understand that you wanted to ask a question.
How could we help the Jews in different communities over there feel safer and feel like we are there to give our hugs and support for everything you guys are doing?
I think the fact that you're even thinking about that is so special. You're doing everything you can be doing. I remember when I came to Israel thinking, I'm going for myself because I need chizuk, and that's exactly what I got. But people would tell me that I'm giving them strength just by showing up. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I needed to come here for me. I needed to be here. So the fact that you're even saying that is just wow.
Francisca, what's your question to Devorah, maybe especially after hearing that her husband served so many months in the army?
By the way, my second daughter is 3 months old. My husband, I gave birth while my husband was in Miluim. He actually got to the birth, but it took him 3 hours to get to me. He was almost in Lebanon.
Francisca, you're speechless.
Speechless. I actually had a baby without my husband present, one of my births. So, but not to compare, different circumstances. My question that poses, I remember the night of October 7th thinking we're never going to be the same again. Like this generation is forever different, traumatized. We're never going to see or experience life the same. And this question on a new level comes up for me is the people who didn't show up or didn't move, whether they had the hashkafot of the people living in Israel who are serving or not, because that's an extra layer. Are we ever going to be part of the fold? Or are we going to be remembered in history as the ones who didn't show up, the ones who didn't come? Are we now an extra layer removed from the people?
Wow.
Does that like
I think that it can't be like we are all one. We are all united. We are one big Jewish family. And I think that everybody is doing their own responsibility that they have to give to the Jewish communities all around the world, including Israel. And I don't know, personally, I think that since October 7th, we've seen so much more from all the Jews all around the world, and it's been really just so special. Like even just different family that we could all of a sudden just see them like rocking and rolling in our WhatsApp groups and showing how much support that they have and how much love, and just getting video calls all day long. And I've been part of different as I said, like different Zooms and different phone calls from people that I don't even know. I get like every single Friday from somebody from Argentina. She just sends me like Shabbat Shalom. We love you. We sends me recordings. How are you doing? And I have no idea who she is. Like I just think that shows how much the Jewish communities around the world are trying to just show their love and show their support what's going on here in Israel. And I would love to also give back in however we can, to everybody who's giving and everybody who's not giving, and whoever just can get what we could give.
So we're talking about the connection between Israel and the diaspora. Where do we take this connection as we go on?
Yes, I think the mindset is, and as a mother, everything should be how do we uplift what we do, or how do we dedicate, or how do we channel what we're doing with our lives, with our efforts, for it to help Israel, to support Israel, to show emotional support to the people who are there, who might have to be going into the miklat on a random night that everybody is happily sleeping, back here. So there's this internal lens that needs to be activated and on, and we need to be very intentional and purposeful with everyday activities and honoring the people around us. There could be families of lone soldiers right next door to you, and you could be supporting them.
Right. I was just about to say, actually, Francisca, that I know that I'm sure that you know a lot of families that have their sons that are lone soldiers here in Israel. And in Beit Shemesh, we have here, I know a few houses that are for lone soldiers. And like just yesterday, we had somebody making a cake for one of the lone soldiers' birthdays. And I just think it's so special to see how the communities in all around the world, all the Jewish communities, they everybody, I think they have like another parent, another mother, another father that they're just sending in their sons to come and support and to fight. And I just think it's so special that everybody has their own way in giving. That somebody could be, for one person, it could be the lone soldier that their son is just out here fighting, and then for another person, it could be just giving that phone call or that WhatsApp once a week. And I just find it so special. Everybody finds their own way in giving. And Francisco, also thank you to you for your time. Like, this was so nice that we could also just mean this is like your way in giving and showing us how much you give your support. And I just think it's really special.
Thank you.
Okay, Francisca Kosman and Devorah Azuviv, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Devorah, thank you for your service and sacrifice.
Thank you. And Beyachad Ninatzeach, right? We named our daughter Neta Yachad. Yachad is also named after my grandmother that passed away, but also Yachad because of this whole situation. And I just find it, like that is what we have to be saying.